Podcast. What makes you smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Make your next thing a big one. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Monday, September 21st, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, Republicans push to quickly fill Ginsburgs' Supreme Court seat. Senate Republican leaders on Sunday rushed to prepare for confirmation hearings as quickly as possible after President Trump announces who he is nominating to fill the seat left vacant with the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Senator Lisa Murkowski, Republican Alaska, on Sunday became the second Republican to say she would not support confirming a new justice before the November election. Senator Susan Collins, Republican Maine, was the first to say she would oppose a vote before Election Day. It would take 4 Republicans breaking ranks to make it impossible to move forward with the new nominee's confirmation. Democratic leaders, including presidential nominee Joe Biden, accused Republicans of hypocrisy for pushing for a confirmation just 44 days before the election after refusing to hold hearings on former President Barack Obama's nomination of Judge Merrick Garland months earlier in an election year. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 2, Schitt's Creek, Watchmen win big at Emmys. Schitt's Creek and Watchmen won big at Sunday's 72nd Primetime Emmy Awards, held without a live audience due to the coronavirus pandemic. Schitt's Creek set a record with 9 comedy Emmys, including Best Comedy Series. The stars swept the acting awards for the show's 6th and final season. Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy won Best Actress and Actor in a Comedy Series. Levy's son, show creator Daniel Levy, and Annie Murphy won for Best Supporting Actor and Actress. Daniel Levy also won for writing and directing, the latter shared with Andrew Cividino. Regina King led Watchmen's big night, picking up her 4th Emmy as Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series or Movie. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II took the Supporting Actor Award, and the show won for Outstanding Limited Series. Succession also won the Top Drama Prize of Outstanding Drama Series, and its star, Jeremy Strong, took the Lead Drama Actor Trophy. This is according to the New York Times and Variety. Number 3, Belarus protests continue for 6th straight weekend. More than 100,000 protesters marched in Minsk on Sunday in the 6th straight weekend of demonstrations calling for the resignation of President Alexander Lukashenko. Many walked in a miles-long column chanting, quote, "Go away," end quote. Videos shared by local media showed security forces pulling protesters off the streets in simultaneous marches. In other cities, the country erupted in turmoil last month when longtime strong-arm leader Lukashenko claimed to have won a landslide re-election victory after a vote opposition called fraudulent. Lukashenko, supported by Russia, has shown no sign of plans to quit. The European Union has said it would impose sanctions on Belarus over the allegations of election fraud and human rights abuses. This is according to Reuters. Number 4, suspect arrested after ricin poisoned envelope addressed to Trump. A woman suspected of sending an envelope addressed to President Trump that contained the poison ricin was arrested trying to enter the U.S. from Canada. A U.S. law enforcement officials said Sunday. The suspect reportedly had a gun. Law enforcement officials intercepted the package last week, and authorities were investigating the possibility that it was sent from Canada. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said it could not immediately confirm or deny any reports of arrests. The RCMP had confirmed a day earlier that it was working with FBI investigators on the matter. Investigators are also looking into similar packages that were mailed to addressees in Texas, possibly tied to the same sender. This is according to CNN. Number 5, Trump expected to detail plans on snapback Iran sanctions. President Trump is expected to issue an executive order Monday spelling out how the United States plans to punish businesses and individuals that violate sanctions on Iran. The Trump administration declared that, quote, snapback and, quote, multilateral sanctions against Tehran were back in place due to the violation of Iran's landmark 2015 nuclear agreement with world powers. Traditional U.S. allies in Europe have vowed to ignore the U.S. claim the sanctions were back in effect. The foreign ministers of France, Britain, and Germany said in a joint statement on Sunday that the U.S. forfeited its rights to influence sanctions when Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal 2 years ago. No one disputes that Iran has violated some of its commitments under the deal, although it was in compliance until the U.S. imposed some sanctions in 2018. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 6, Tropical Storm Beta threatens Texas, Louisiana with flooding. Tropical Storm Beta continued to approach the Texas coast early Monday, threatening to flood parts of Texas and Louisiana. The slow-moving storm could bring up to a foot of rain to some areas through Thursday, with isolated spots getting up to 20 inches, according to the National Hurricane Center. Forecasters said they expected the storm, with top sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, to move ashore Monday night. Parts of Texas and Louisiana are under tropical storm and storm surge warnings. Beta is the third named storm in the Gulf of Mexico in less than a month, and the 23rd of this hurricane season. This is just the second season to exhaust the alphabetical list of storm names set before the season. The first year that happened was 2005, when there was a record of 27 named storms. This is according to Reuters. Number 7, Biden has $141 million cash lead over Trump. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden and the Democratic National Committee entered September with $466 million in the bank, a cash advantage of $141 million over President Trump and the Republican National Committee, with $325 million, according to campaign finance reports released late Sunday. In the spring, Trump and the RNC had $187 million lead over Biden and the DNC. In August alone, the joint Biden-DNC committee brought in a record of $364.5 million, while the Trump RNC committee raised $210 million. The Biden campaign alone raised $212 million and spent $30.3 million. The Trump campaign raised $61.7 million and spent $61.2 million and added about $900,000 in debt. Biden has a lead of about 6.5 percentage points over Trump in averages of national polls. This is according to the New York Times. Number 8, ByteDance stresses that it will still control TikTok Global. China's ByteDance on Monday disputed, quote, groundless rumors, end quote, about its partnership with Oracle and Walmart to establish a subsidiary that will run its operations in the United States. ByteDance emphasized that it would control 80% of TikTok Global, while Oracle would own 12.5% and Walmart 7.5%. U.S. supporters of the deal have said that Oracle and Walmart stakes give Americans a majority stake in TikTok Global because U.S. investors also own 41% of ByteDance. The Beijing-based company also rejected President Trump's assertion that it would pay $5 billion to establish an education fund dedicated to teaching U.S. students, quote, the real history of our country, end quote. ByteDance said the $5 billion is not a special fee, but an estimate of the U.S. taxes it would pay over several years if TikTok Global does well. This is according to Bloomberg. Number 9, judge blocks Trump order to pull WeChat from app stores. A federal judge in California on Sunday temporarily blocked the Trump administration's efforts to ban downloads of Chinese-owned WeChat. The Commerce Department had planned to start forcing Apple and Google to yank WeChat from their app stores by Sunday night due to national security concerns. U.S. Magistrate Judge Laurel Beeler said WeChat users who filed a lawsuit, quote, have shown serious questions going to the merits of the First Amendment claim. The balance of hardships tips in the plaintiff's favor, end quote. Beeler said in her order that the Trump administration plans, quote, burden substantially more speech than is necessary to serve the government's significant interest in national security, especially given the lack of substitute channels for communication, end quote. The Justice Department had urged Beeler not to block the ban and made no immediate comment after the ruling. This is according to CNBC and Reuters. Number 10, DeChambeau wins U.S. Open, overtaking Wolf in final round. Bryson DeChambeau won the U.S. Open on Sunday with a 3 under par 67, becoming only the third golfer to finish under par in the 6 U.S. Opens played at Winged Foot Mamaroneck, New York. DeChambeau started the day 2 shots behind Matthew Wolff and wound up winning by 6 shots. Wolff was gunning to become the first player since Francis Ouimet in 1913 to win the tournament in his debut, but fell behind DeChambeau early on the final day, shooting a 75. DeChambeau's first major win was widely seen as a validation of his efforts to blast his drives longer and longer. DeChambeau telegraphed his strategy before the tournament started, saying he would go for the longest drives he could, even, quote, even if I hit in the rough, end quote. He said on Tuesday, quote, I still feel like I can make birdies out there, end quote. This is according to ESPN and the Wall Street Journal. That's 10 things you need to know today for Monday, September 21st, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for putting up with all my stumbling. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to make myself smarter, keep up with current events, that kind of thing. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. This has been What Makes You Smarter. Like, subscribe, give 5-star reviews. It helps me to get on the algorithm on Apple and Spotify and all that kind of thing. Also, if you'd like to watch me do some gaming, some stream gaming, I'm playing some of these games. These kids out here, they can't take all the fun. They can't have all the fun. So if you look that up, you'll find it under the hashtag KeysDAN Gaming. Yeah, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Yeah, so follow me. Follow me. Watch me stream. Watch me nay. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.